So, Shreya, over to you now for starting the program.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, respected teachers, honorable guests, and my dear friends. A day without prayer is a day without blessing, and a life without prayer is a life without power, is rightly said by Edwin Harvey. And our college has always emphasized on the power of prayer. Hence, I would like to call upon my friend Jennifer to commence today's program with a word of prayer. Over to you, Jennifer.
Please join me as I lead the prayer. Father Lord, Creator of heaven and earth, we praise you, we adore you, we thank you for this beautiful day. Lord, as we celebrate women across the world, shower your choicest blessing on each one of us. Thank you, Lord, for guiding us through. Lord, we especially pray for our institution that it keeps inspiring and impacting lives of many young girls who wish to become the torch bearers of change. Lord, we pray for all the women who struggle in darkness of abuse, poverty, and loneliness. God of hope and love, give us the courage to speak and work for equality and justice, and fill the earth with righteousness and love. We lean on you, Lord. It's in you we place our anxieties, worries, ambitions, and our aspirations. Bless us and help us, Lord. Lord, as we embark on our journey every day, may we rejoice always in your everlasting love. We offer this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Um, Thank you, Jennifer. Here, I, Naina Kumar, with my co-host Vasundhara Singh, welcome you all to the pre-celebration of the International Women's Day. Today's event, The Voice of 21st Century Women and Oral Storytelling, is organized by the Center for Women's Studies in collaboration with the Postgraduate Department of Economics of Isabella Thoburn College, Lucknow, under the guidance of our head, Dr. Anupma Srivastava. Feminism isn't about making how women are strong. Women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world sees strength. We women are often seen as someone's daughter, someone's wife, mother, or sister, but this is not our only introduction to this world. We women are game changers. We are warriors who never fear to fight. We are achievers, achieving our goals and dreams, despite the countless made to pull us down. We are the inspiration and which encourages every other woman to fight and stand strong against the wrong. I would request our head of our Department of Economics and the coordinator for the Center for Women's Studies, Dr. Anupma Srivastava ma'am, to welcome our chief guest for today's event. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Naina. It's always tricky business to talk on such issues. Reason being that speaking on women's issues and feminism is often taken to be a sign of being inclined in favor of a particular sex, when that is a half-baked understanding at best. The truth is that a majority of women continues to be viewed through the lens of being the weaker sex and continue to be marginalized. And that is why it becomes important to address the issues of gender equality. Women of the 21st century. What is the first picture that pops in our mind? A woman who's strong, opinionated, probably clad in Western clothes, and often labeled with the moniker boss lady. Why is it so? Do we form similar stereotypes for men? The resounding answer is no. Patriarchy pervades every aspect of life, whether it's urban or rural areas, or whether it's illiterate or educated women. The only difference may be in the form of magnitude or manifestation. We women bear a triple burden. We have all heard about dual burden, that is in terms of household work and women in professional sphere. But the third burden that every woman should carry is that of standing up what is right and to speak up when she sees any form of injustice happening. That is why women need to find their voices. As poetess Alexandra Ellis said, celebrating another woman's triumph or success will never take away from your shine or glory. If anything, it will add to it and create more light. Keeping all this in mind, as head of the Department of Economics and Coordinator Center for Women's Studies, Isabella Thoburn College, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our chief guest and patron and also the president of the college, Dr. Mrs. E.S. Charles, our principal, Dr. Mrs. Vinita Prakash, and all the alumni who very graciously accepted our invitation to be a part of this oral story event as a pre-celebration of International Women's Day. So now I would like to call upon our president, Dr. Mrs. E.S. Charles, to give us her blessings in the form of inaugural address, which I'm sure will empower each one of us in a better manner. Over to you, ma'am.
It's very well said, ma'am.
Thank you. Charles, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Srivastava. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
But I'll request you to put your video on because we are live streaming on YouTube.
On. My
It's
video.
on.
It's on.
Ma'am, it's on.
Yes, it's on.
It's
Go
on.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay.
It's on. So, and everybody else who's here in the gathering, a number is always supportive. And when we gather together and stand with each other, it adds strength to whatever we are thinking about or talking about. When I read the topic of today's collective, the oral story, most of the time we do not really emphasize on oral stories. We somehow are stronger on the written word. But it is remarkable how oral stories affect the people who hear them. And I would like to share one story before I go further. Sometime back, quite a few years back, I was in the US attending a conference, and there they had us divided in several groups. So I went to this group where the Afro-American stories were being told. And there I met a lady who traced her ancestry to the point where her great-great-great-grandmother was sold in Istanbul to the slave traders. And how she got there, and she had come with her 3 children, only remained with her, and the other 2 were taken away by others because they were sold. In fact, it was an auction. And even today, if you go to Istanbul, you can still see those places where the women used to be put up on display, and people would go and get the woman or men either they wanted to. And this young woman who was telling the story, there were times she cried, and there were times when she was very proud that she was standing there to tell her ancestors' story. Behind the story was the pain that she experienced, having heard it narrated from one generation to another. Behind the victory was her joy for being free enough to tell the story to others. In telling that one story, she lived the life of several generations and shared with us the pain, the sorrow, the goodness, and all the pebbles that may have been lying on the road that drove them through and gave to her a life of freedom. Many joined these women on the route. The journey is never undertaken by one for it to be able to become a successful one. It always, always needs many to support that one. One takes the initiative, but has to be supported by all to make that journey effective, meaningful, and translate it into action. So as I heard that story, I wondered, you see, the Afro-Americans were not always having the ability to study. They many times didn't even have the paper to write. And when they didn't know how to write, where would they write anyway? So what they very effectively did was tell their stories to their children and their children's children. It's somehow, each family of each generation has its distinctive flavor. What happened to the first woman standing in the cage will not happen to others in her family. What happened to the next one will not happen to those who come after her. And what is happening today, hopefully, will not happen to those of us who will come later. We always hope and pray for a better, a more peaceful, and a more happy narrative when it comes to telling. So, as I heard that story, I also thought that the story is not only linked to pain and sorrow. The women's stories are linked to everything that happens in a family. The food we eat, it's never the same in two families. The same masoor ki dal tastes different. And who learns to make it differently? The daughter from the mother. Who teaches it? The mother. The tastes we develop, the thinking we acquire, and what we call freedom, and how we understand to interpret freedom is all passed down in our minds through socialization. Who makes this socialization so effective that it cannot be wiped out? It is the percentage of wiping out is so minimal that some of the oldest practices that survive in our country continue in spite of laws and prohibitions which exist today, in spite of state effort, in spite of female group pressure, they exist. But who is it really socializing? Now, there are two views. One, that the men in the family make their women do it. Very easy. You tell your wife, I think this is what is right. And sure enough, I have always been schooled to listen and understand my man. And I will go ahead and do it. Who has socialized it? It's the woman. because she will see to it that her diktat is obeyed by her daughter-in-law, and that her son is given his privileged position in the family. So socialization has so enveloped our minds and our working patterns, our taste buds. The Rajasthani will like the Rajasthani food. The Bengali will like the Bengali food. Even the menu has to be that way. If you change it, you say, what is this? It's not the same thing. So this is a very interesting, if you see these things, people don't talk about much and write even less, but they affect every nook and corner of our daily lives, charging us to remain as we are, to think like we always think, and to react the way that we are supposed to be reacting. I remember as I was growing up, we were always told, women don't laugh loudly and women don't show their teeth. But today I find all the beauty queens are showing their teeth. Full 32.
That's good.
So laugh loudly at this, all of us.
So, and we are not supposed to be laughing loudly.
Times are
And talking so mushkili hai. The less said, the better. Women are supposed to be seen, not heard. Now, even in the most educated family, there were norms that were put forward and they had to be adhered to. It wasn't cruelty. They were not being cruel because they were socialized to work like that. We were not experiencing cruelty because we were taught not to think otherwise. It was the most easy and well-oiled passage of retaining all the privileges that existed in the society to the group to which they belonged. Women have always been used when they were needed. Every freedom that we won did not happen automatically. We also very rarely took it by force, and even more rarely, we were not given it easily. And even more rarely did we snatch it and could we get away with it. Every freedom, practically every freedom, we won. The freedom, I'll just take one. The freedom to step out of our home and march in a crowd began when they needed women to walk in processions when the freedom struggle began. The women participated in the freedom struggle along with the men in every procession. And we got our freedom to step out of our homes, which they were never allowed to do otherwise. The women got to let down their hair. The women got to show their faces in these processions during the freedom struggle. They were sidestepping socialization issues. And we marched right ahead. We gave up many freedoms we had won, but we retained many that we had gathered. Mothers taught their daughters to retain some, and some mothers forgot even what they had gotten. So the significance of the oral storytelling can never be minimized, can never be compared with the written word, because Oral storytelling puts into practice the thought immediately. It sows the seed at once. I heard you, it came to me, and that is it. The written word journeys and then comes to you. It will come to me only if I read the book. But the oral word I will hear and capture. How I translate it and how I put it into practice is again governed by my individual socialized perspective. And so, in this entire phenomenon, the biggest barrier that needs to be transcended is the process of socialization. And any tool that is used to do so is important. And any procedure that can help us do it is of significance. Processes change, thought patterns change with every generation. I remember about 30 years back, once there was a big argument going on in the town in Lucknow about should girls wear jeans to college. It was such a big issue. A non-issue was a very big issue. And one of the reporters came to me and asked me, Madam, do you think it is right for girls? 2 or 3 other principals had said they should not. One of them came to me and asked me, do you think it is right? I said, did you ask the men if it is right to wear trousers? Why not the dhoti? So he said, we never asked them. So I said, you get their answer and I will answer you.
That was amazing.
They never came back. They never came back. Nobody asked them, but everybody was so interested. But today, that isn't even a question. Today, the question is, are all our women going to start wearing trousers and give up on saris and salwar kurtas? Where is the culture going? That is the question today.
Absolutely, ma'am.
The generational gap modifies the story we tell, the reaction we bring forth, and the product of the two is also very, very important. I'll close. I'm talking too much. Just one more thing. I do believe that educational empowerment is very important. And financial empowerment is even more important. Because even if you're educated but do not have the money to put into reality what you dream of, it is of no use. But more important than both the things is the ability to stand alone. Because when you break, or when I break my barriers, believe me, for a very long time, I will be standing all alone. No woman is going to be there with you because she's waiting on the lines to see how you will circumvent the issue. So the first thing we have to develop within ourselves is the ability to think alone, to stand alone, and to act alone. To watch the outcome of such journeys and to be able to translate these experiences into relevant situations for our journey and for our life. If I start behaving like a fish on the ground, it's not going to work. And neither will it work if I'm a non-swimmer and start swimming in the river. So it is very important for all of us women to distinguish how far I can make it alone before I start the journey. But then, there are always times you never get time to think. In fact, most of the biggest hiccups come and you don't get time to think. It is then that all the values, the moral strength, the action plans, the empowerment, whichever area, comes into play automatically. And I do believe that at IT College, we do try to empower our women so that when they stand at the crossroads of life, they will be strong enough to take their decisions consciously and also to choose correctly. I am sure you have all traveled a journey, and I wish you best of luck or best of times in the coming times. May you experience the richness of the female want, and may you be able to enjoy your own stuff and share it with the others. Thank you.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was wonderful.
Now, I would like to call my co-host to take the further. Over to you.
Thank you, Nana. International Women's Day, celebrated annually on March 8th, marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. This significant day grew out of the labor movement to become a UN-recognized movement since 1977. It was first celebrated in the year 1911 in Denmark, Austria, Germany, and Switzerland. This year's International Women's Day theme is Choose to Challenge, with the idea that a challenged world is an alert world, and we individually, we are responsible for our own thoughts and actions. We can all choose to challenge and call out gender bias and inequality. I believe every woman has a story to share. Today, on this platform, we have strong women from all the walks of life who have struggled in one or other way and emerged as a powerful personality. They are here with their stories of life to share with us. Before starting with the program, I would request to all our guests to switch on their mic and camera while speaking, as we are live streaming it on YouTube. Thank you so much. Our first speaker is a woman with versatility. She has to her name many awards. She is an academician, radio broadcaster, citizen journalist, author, poet, and a tarot reader. She is the winner of Voice of Uttar Pradesh and Rani Lakshmi Award. She represented India at Association for International Broadcasting. She is also an animal rights activist. She has over 700 video stories on her YouTube channel turned philanthropically. I would like to invite Ms. Rashi Badalia Kumar to inspire us with her words. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here on this platform today. My warmest greetings to each one of you, all my friends, and my heartiest salutations to the President of the College, Dr. Mrs. E.S. Charles, Principal Ma'am, Dr. Prakash, and of course, our sweetheart, our ma'am, we love you the most, Dr. Anupma Srivastav. Thank you so much, wonderful host, for welcoming me and giving me such a warm, wonderful, and heart-touching introduction. But let me introduce to you this way, that I'm a girl at heart with still many dreams in my eyes. I respect women, and I would always love to be the first one to clap when I see a woman, writing success story everywhere, whether in the form of cooking a good delicacy or writing a good poem or lifting a trophy or wearing a good sari or wearing a good bindi or just giving me a bright smile. I just want to be that first human being girl at heart to clap for every woman, every little girl across the world. So that is my small introduction. Yes, 5th of February this very year, 2021, I was at my campus, that is IT College. I did a story, my Valentine's a special story, my love story with Lucknow, and of course, IT College. I'm in the vast sky that a little bird got when she was doing her class 12 and right from Emma Thompson's school. She was scared and she was Rashi Badalia and a shy little innocent girl, and she was in IT college class 12 and there was no uniform. And yes, that was the batch, when uniform, the dress code started. I graduated from IT college in 1995, and yes, as everybody is talking about, as ma'am had said, challenges. Yeah, that's the best word because obstacles, problems, I think the best word is the best word is, of course, challenges. Let's substitute obstacles with challenges in life and every day, every moment. The moment a baby is born, baby cries. But yes, that's a challenge both for the mother and for the baby, for one to nurture and for the other to grow. Now, I'll talk about physical, emotional, and financial challenges. And yes, that made me wise because I faced them all. It was very difficult for me because uh, my dad, like, we were like best buddies. So my attitude towards life had always been little masculine. Like the maroon shades would attract me, the musk fragrance would attract me, dad's tie would attract me, and mama's kitchen. That was not much of my sphere of interest. But yes, I loved eating like any man would. So there were physical challenges because I was a growing girl, and when you're growing, of course, there are a lot of changes that you're seeing within your own self, your own body. So the first struggle began when I had to accept myself the way I am, right? I was shy and yes, very comfortable with the cousins around. And yes, they all were brothers home and all that. But then the world was not like that. The boy outside on the road was not my brother, right? Or maybe I was not his sister. So there were the physical challenges when you accept yourself, and yes, emotional challenges. When you're in a college, of course, you were responsible. And I owe a lot to my college. Not because that today I'm on this platform and want to appease anyone, because that's the truth. A tiny bird under the vast sky. When nobody was asking me that, would you attend your college? And I was sitting outside and Ma'am Dongre was there, Hindi teacher. And, the class started and we were just sitting out and we missed on that class. That day, I realized that responsibility is the first commitment to oneself. I remember Dr. Devina Kapahi ma'am. I remember my psychology teacher. I remember Anupma ma'am, Crystal David ma'am, Chakravarti ma'am, Messi ma'am. I remember everyone. They're beautiful stories, and I would call them all wonderful love stories. Finances, yes. Papa's business was facing a bad dent, and I picked up job very early. Yeah, and uh, my graduation degree was awaited, and my first teaching experience it began with City Montessori Inter College, and I was given economics and English literature of 11th standard. And my final, and I began teaching, and then my final interview happened after that, after I believe after a week or so, and Mr. Jagdish Gandhiji was there, and when he met me, just as he calls everybody Didi, I was a young kid, and he said, "You're absolutely fine, people." Who's the principal out there? Churamani. Mrs. Churamani, she has spoken very good about you. मेरा एक ही सवाल है आपसे, आप बहुत यंग दिखते हो, आप इतने बड़े बच्चों को, इन बॉयज को कैसे हैंडल करोगे? एंड मेरा एक ही जवाब था, मैंने कहा I don't know, but I'm confident about it because I believe no matter how tall a son grows, a mother remains a mother. So with that spirit, I have come here. And trust me, he got up and he gave me a clap. And he told me that in my entire career, no one came up with this answer, Rashi, all the best. That's how my journey began. Then, of course, while I was working, I did my post-graduation also. I did my 3 years of research from Lucknow University um, in American poetry. All that was happening. I was working, and there was a balance. But if you ask me of my challenges, I believe we all have a lot of empathies and sympathies for any wound which is physically seen, but not what we are experiencing inside, what is happening in our heart. So today, when I uh, grew as an intuitive counselor, as a healer, I I see intuitively, that yes, this world, what it needs, a woman, what it needs, a man, what it needs, a child, what needs, a transgender, what it needs, a sex worker, what needs, is just affectionate love, understanding, and a selfless care. Trust me, it works wonders, right? Okay, then after that, radio happened. When radio happened, 1997, then the broadcasting career started. And in 2000, like when FM came, I was chosen as the first. It was the blind audition, and people had come from Mumbai and Delhi, the very senior radio broadcasters. And my voice was chosen to go on air. And trust me, I went to my station director, Dr. Satish Grover, and I told him, sir, you please give this opportunity to somebody else, because हम शाम को मतलब 5 o'clock हमको घर जाना होता है. And he said, अच्छा तो घर पे आपको ये बोला गया है कि शाम को जल्दी घर आना. हमने कहा नहीं my papa तो he said just do whatever you want to do, but I am not confident enough. So he said no, you are doing the show. So I believe जो बोला जाता है कि ignorance is a bliss, innocence is a bliss, it is a bliss. Then there was, and if you ask of my challenges, I struggled a lot, because see, you're in a group, right, where relationship issues, you're listening to, girls are getting married, they have their stories to share, and you have a different attitude, you have thought of something else, and you're not judgmental about anyone, because everybody has the right to live the life they want. Now, if you talk to a boy, the people will ask you, is he your boyfriend? Now, if you're talking to a boy, now he's stopping himself. He is finding it very humiliating to take it or to consider you as a sister. So the concept of boyfriend, the girlfriend, the relationship issues, oh, Rashi, what to do? So finally, the friendship, the loyalty, and that was the question I'd asked Papa, this is all what is happening around now, what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm into the college to study. I mean, what I'm supposed to do? There's a lot of peer pressure around. So he just told me one thing, which I've said in one of my interviews also, that he was a businessman. So he said, I never even treated business as an affair, because affair is a very fleeting phase in life. Everybody has a right to love. Everybody has a right to be in good friendship, but that friendship should be such that, even when you leave this planet, that friend is important for you. That friendship and loyalty is important for you. And what all liberation I'm giving to you of your mind, thought, that's the same liberation you'll give to the other person. And my concept was clear. So I believed a lot in friendship. I believe a lot in friendship and love. But yes, nothing is an affair for me. Whenever I'm counseling anybody, I'm talking to any child, I am all single, independent, and absolutely for that person. At that time, I'm nobody's wife, I'm nobody's daughter. I'm just for that one person who is investing so much of trust in me. Yes, I have been betrayed many a times, And yes, as Anupma ma'am said in the beginning, yes, nobody's success is my failure. In the same way, even my success is not anybody's failure. As a woman,
Thank you so much, Vasundhara. Greetings to one and all on International Women's Day today. And thank you, IT College, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this occasion today. It's a pleasure to see you, Dr. Charles, Anupma ma'am, Vinita ma'am, everyone here. And Rashi.
Hi.
What memories. What memories we share. Just to let everyone know, Rashi was my batchmate. And I'll take off to tell my story from where she ended. So Rashi wound up her words with a poem. I'm going to start mine with a poem here. And this verse is dedicated to all women of the world. I call it Multifacets of a Woman. So what is it that makes a woman? She gives life. She will walk the mile. She faces all strife with her beaming smile. She is fire. She can also be ice. She is demure and calm. She is quite wise. She treads the tightrope of relationships with care. To spread joy around her, she has a flair. And I see that in all women I'm seeing on the screen right now. When hardships strike, she maintains her cool. But if you cross the limits, she'll be nobody's fool. You may beat her and strike all that you want. She'll bend, but not break. She can return to haunt. She's kind, she's generous, she's loving to a fault. She can make your world spin. She can bring it to a halt. She's a mother, a daughter, a sister, lover, and friend. With indefatigable spirit, a woman's potential knows no end. So that's my take on Women's Day this year. And the theme that's been set for celebrating this International Day for Women is Choose to Challenge. You know, you brought that topic up initially. And when I take the word challenge, I want to see it in a different connotation than just challenges as in fighting or aggression. When we talk of women taking up or choosing to challenge, it does not always signify challenging to fight or, to just make a point by hook or by crook. No. Challenge here, in my perception, would mean, what the world should look at it, is challenging one's own self to internalize, to be able to find one's own limits, to find one's own potential and do the best that one can. The world does present a lot of challenges, and I'm here today to share my story. I will start with my academic journey in life. I've had the honor and privilege of having studied in wonderful schools and colleges in my city, namely Mount Carmel Convent, La Martiniere Girls College. I proceeded to studying then in IT College in Lucknow, and further went on to doing my post-graduation from Lucknow University. Now, if you see the trend of the academics that I've followed in my life, you'd notice that I've studied majorly in girls' institutions. So I'm just going to take snippets of them and share them with you so you'd understand that why I am what I am today. Mount Carmel formed the basis of my foundation, my education, and for what I am today, teaching me a lot of life skills and values. And one of my Carmelite friends just today posted something on the group that said, the time is now. So when we talk about the theme of choosing to challenge, I just want to add this one aspect put forth by a Carmelite friend of mine. Once you decide to take a stand or take a direction in your life, do it now. Do not procrastinate. From Carmel, I went on to studying in La Martiniere Girls College, and that's where I'm teaching also right now. So La Martiniere has been so much more than just a home to me. I've even stayed on their campus. Some of my La Martiniere friends, as well as colleagues, are watching this live right now. They have communicated to me over the phone, and I'm going to share some events, interesting episodes of my life that I've shared in La Martiniere. So this is a humorous take on what happened with me in life some years back. For those who know me personally, I had a bad marital state, and then my marriage broke down. I went through a bad phase in my marriage, and I separated from my husband, and I was here, a single parent, teaching in La Martiniere, when one of my colleagues, I think she's here right now, Ila, she happened to just by chance fill a form for a Mrs. Lucknow show for me. And Ila had all the confidence in me. My school supported this very impulsive desire to participate in a Mrs. Lucknow show when I did not have the support of my husband. And I had fears. I was full of trepidation. It is not easy to be a single mom in today's world, but then there are always two sides to the coin. And guess what? I went on to winning the title. Husband or no husband, it doesn't really matter. You are what you are within yourself, and it is up to us to discover and hone our skills and push ourselves to the maximum potential. While in La Martiniere, I've also started with something we call the SMS, that is my Single Mothers Society. And I've been blessed to have the support of two of the principals of my college, Mrs. Abraham, and the current principal of the college, Mrs. Ashita Das. For Mrs. Das, I often say she's my shoulder. You know, it's so important for women to stand by each other. And I have seen that in friends and colleagues around me. From La Martiniere as a student, I came to IT college. Rashi would remember the year we passed out together in 1995. And there have been so many role models and ladies who've inspired us. Dr. Charles, I need to address you right now. When you were speaking, you told all women to be able to stand alone, because oftentimes that happens, you know, when we want to break out of a mold, we find ourselves alone. However, in this public forum, let me tell you, Dr. Charles is one person who has never allowed me to feel that I am alone. Anupma ma'am has seen me through years of my struggle, and once again I reiterate, if you have faith in yourself, if you trust the Lord above, you will never feel alone, however much the people in the world may seem to desert you. They may seem to desert you, but you are never alone. So that was my academic journey. I will bring on 3 points in 3 colors that International Women's Day is denoted by. It's symbolized by 3 specific colors. They are purple, green, and white. The purple stands for justice and dignity. The green stands for hope, and the white stands for purity, however controversial that term may be. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my struggle when I was dealing with the jurisdiction and the justice system in India. I had a very short marriage, less than 5 years, a beautiful son born out of it, and he is my pillar of strength today. But my divorce was very acrimonious, stretched to more than 11 years. That's more than like twice the time that I've stayed with my husband. I spent longer than that traipsing the courts, the domestic courts in the city. And unfortunately, ours is not a very clean society. So when I talk of the color purple and justice, the way we would want it to be, I did not find that in real life. What made me struggle and stand through all this? There's a lady sitting right in front of me, and I want her to smile because my mother has been my backbone in all my years of struggle. Even when I'm saying this, I have tears in my eyes because it's a known fact that mothers and daughters fight. They're prone to fighting, they're supposed to fight, but in that fight is love. Rashi, you spoke of your father. Yes, parental support, family, belief, and friends and colleagues. They stood by me like a rock. I had faith in God because I believe that truth prevails.
Yes, truth prevails.
Truth prevails. And that was my struggle in the courts, you know. That was my struggle in the courts when I stood for what I believed in. And a lot of people know my story. Why? Because I have nothing to hide. Because I have not been afraid. I am answerable to my conscience. And that belief and conviction that can make any woman feel strong in life. Also, I believe that it is not necessary to be a woman to be a feminist. I've known men in life who are true feminists. What is needed in life is respect. One of the speakers earlier did bring in this term, humanity and being human, humankind, you know, being respectful towards one another. And I believe charity begins at home. You respect yourself, you respect people around you, and be truthful and honest. And that's what's going to get you going in life. So that's been part of my journey. I still believe in what Robert Frost said, miles and miles to go. And I'd like to wind this up once again with a quip from what Dr. Charles said when she spoke of her experience of that storyteller in Istanbul. And when you were narrating that, ma'am, you also said women are put up on display and sometimes even men. So I leave you with an open question. I want to know, where are these men put up on display? And that's where I'll be going next. So signing off, lots of cheer, lots of love, good wishes to all.
Great, Ishita. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
My pleasure.
For explaining us actually the real definition, as you said, for challenging is to find one's potential and to do the best that one we can. So it's very rightly said. Thank you so much, ma'am. Next we have a woman with a charming personality who doesn't follow the crowd. She is herself. She believes that never get tired of doing good to others, no matter what you get back. With this, I will request Mrs. Winnie Singh to tell us about her tale with us. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon to all the women present there and all the women of substance present there. And definitely looking at Ma'am Basu, she was my senior in the college and as pretty as always, lovely as always. I am a pass out of 96 batch and Ma'am was 95. So it's always lovely to see everybody there. And I feel so privileged today to be a part of this Women's Day celebration, a pre-Women's Day celebration organized by the post-graduation department of the Economics IT College. And one thing which I noticed in that invitation was that Mission Shakti as a logo which was given on the top. So looking at that, I felt that it was something which was, required over there, which depict the women who really strived hard and worked hard to make their presence being felt in the society. So that logo struck me a lot. And that is why, I thought that it was something which was really needed on that invitation, which was sent to us by the department. Then nothing more to say about my story as such, but starting from the academics, I was Lucknowite from the very beginning, did all my schooling from here. I was a pass out from CMS. I did my class 10 from there and then passed out my 11th and 12th from Christ Church College and born and brought up in a Kashmiri Brahmin family. And loved challenges from the very beginning. Like when I was in school, I loved facing challenges. So I personally feel that the time you start acknowledging everything, the time you start knowing things, your challenges start. I feel that personally. So I love challenges from the day I was in school until today. I love challenges and accept challenges in a very nice and a positive way. Like after I completed my schooling and I did my graduation from IT college, I got married, and in an inter-religion marriage, it was an inter-religion marriage. So it was a very tough time for me for many years. I had a lot of struggles, a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges which I faced in my married life in the beginning. But one thing which I felt was that my husband was very, very supportive, and he is still today. He's still very supportive. And I feel that because of him, I am able to do many things what I already had thought about in my mind. So I'm always thankful to him to be a part of my life, always supportive and always helping. But then if I talk about my challenges, yes, of course, sometimes they were very, very hard to accept. Sometimes it was very depressing for me to face those things, and then come out of that was very difficult. But then when I looked at my husband and being his support, I always had that, I came out with that with a smiling face, looking at him, and I was able to bear all my difficulties with a smiling face, looking at him. And I feel that if we face challenges in our life, if we have hardships in our life, it always makes you a better person. This is what happened with me, because I always thank God that He has given me difficult times in my life, because facing those difficult times in my life had made me a different person, a nice and a understanding person what I am today. I feel that with those difficult times which came in my life, I had become more understanding. I have become more strong as a person, and more patient, of course, because, you know, when you go through those difficult times, you become all the more patient, very God-fearing, because I have seen God helping me at every moment of my life. Without His blessings and without His presence, I don't think so that I would have been able to do what I have done. Definitely, hard work is there, but we require God in every stage of our life. This is what I feel. And the attitude, what I always had, that I will never give up. Whatever might come in my life, I will never give up. I will always try to face challenges with a smiling face. And that has always made me stand out of the difficulties. And definitely, I sometimes feel that my life is just like a small Hindi film. Any Hindi film, you know, in the beginning you have all struggles and difficulties and challenges, and then later on in the end everything becomes all right and fine. So I take my life as one of the Hindi films only, maybe with a positive hope that definitely a time will come when things will become all right, and have a lot of faith in myself that if I feel like doing something, and if I don't give up, if I work hard for it, if I have God's blessings, if I have patience, I will be able to do wonders in my life. And that goes for everyone. That goes for every woman. If she thinks that she can, she will definitely be able to do. And one thing which I always feel, that nobody can motivate you unless and until you motivate yourself. This is what I feel personally, that how much you hear, how much you see, how much motivational speakers you hear, but unless and until you don't have that spark in yourself to motivate your own self from within, nobody can motivate you. So it is very important to keep yourself motivated. And it is you alone who can face the challenges, who can change the challenges into something good in your life to come. because nobody will come and do that for you. You have to stand for yourself. You have to take your part, and you have to do what you feel like doing in your life. And however difficult life could be, however difficult life may be, there is always something good in that. And something good which makes you succeed in your life with your hard work, with your patience, and of course with the blessings of God and with everybody around. So I feel it's a common thing which all the ITNs share, that God's blessing and love and forgiveness. So this is, I feel, we all have got from the IT college as the alumni, and we all believe in that if we have faith in ourselves, we believe in ourselves, we get the blessings of God, we get the blessings of our elders, everything definitely will be ours, and we will rock the world, and we'll do wonders in the world. So this was just a small story which I just wanted to share. And thank you so much for giving me a chance to share something at this platform where I can be an inspiration maybe for someone here in the group. And definitely I will get a lot of inspiration from the people here in the group, and love to see all my seniors here after so many years. And of course, Anupama ma'am is, she is a gem of a person, and we would really love to see her throughout her life in the IT college only, and keep on organizing something like this for everyone so that we get a platform to meet each other. And Charles ma'am, always, she's still the same, and she was
still the same.
there in the college. So it's always lovely to see everyone here. And thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this program, to share my views and become an inspiration maybe for someone here in the group. Thank you so much. Lovely to see everyone.
Thank you.
To be under her hands.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Moving on, it is said concepts rationalize emotions. Emotions help us to rationalize concepts. Wind beneath the wings, a concept brought to practice by our next speaker, an epitome of women empowerment. She won the Best Social Entrepreneur 2019, Women of Excellence 2019, Tri Shakti 2019, Iconic Personality Award, and many more to the list. She's a social entrepreneur running Jute Artisans Guild Association with the mission to create and promote eco-friendly jute diversified products to make women artisans self-reliant. Please give it up for Miss Anjali Singh. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for the intro. Am I audible?
Yeah, very
Yes,
much.
First of all, thanks to all the respected teachers for inviting me to such a prestigious platform. And I'm proud to be an ITN. Whatever I am, I owe every success to IT college. And Anupama ma'am, thank you, especially thanks to you for inviting me here.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
And happy Women's Day in advance to all the beautiful ladies out here and the students there. So to begin with, my journey, it's nothing. I'm an accidental entrepreneur, but I'm proud to be a woman entrepreneur because I put my heart and soul into my business. I have transformed and grown my business. I believe in an inclusive. One more achievement we have recently, this year 2021 was a good one. So seeing the success and a good background work of ours. Ministry of MSME through KVIC, Khadi and Village Industries Commission, they have approved a grant of 4.47 crores to set up a common facility center in one of our villages to give employment to the ladies. So this is a real milestone we have, which will be changing everyone's life through our hard work. So, and this is all, and it was full of challenges, and I never say no to any challenge that comes in front of me. This is what I have learned from my schooling, IT college, and also Mount Carmel. So I owe all my success to my schooling and my background and my family members. So this is all from my side. And lastly, I would just like to say one quote which I have put in my office, that पृथ्वी पर कोई भी व्यक्ति ऐसा नहीं है जिसको समस्या ना हो, और पृथ्वी पर कोई समस्या ऐसी नहीं है जिसका कोई समाधान ना हो. समस्या के बारे में समाधान सोचने से बहाने मिलते हैं, समाधान के बारे में सोचने पर रास्ते मिलते हैं. जिंदगी को आसान नहीं, बस खुद को मजबूत बनाना पड़ता है. उत्तम समय कभी आता नहीं, समय को उत्तम बनाना पड़ता है. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
My side.
I like the way how you stress the importance of manufacturing product, which is both beneficial to society and as well as environment.
Yes.
So it was very inspiring to hear from you. Thank
Very,
you so
very
much.
inspiring.
I must say thanks to Anjali, because in spite of her ill health, she has been, gracious enough to accept our invitation and share her story. So get well soon, Anjali. We hope that you will be marching ahead on this mission of empowerment and empowering other women.
Wonderful, Anjali.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Our next speaker is like a moon waxing, shining brighter with each passing day. A lady fully focused on bull's eye, breaking stereotypes, a lady in insurance and retail. Please welcome Ms. Devika Singh. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to my ma'am and everyone who gave this platform to share my views and experiences of my life. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Yes,
You're audible,
yes, you're audible.
but you need to adjust your camera a bit.
Please go ahead.
Your camera, your face is not visible. I mean, your face is not. Tilt your camera a bit. हाँ, कैमरा आप थोड़ा सा टिल्ट करें, आपका फेस पूरा. Yeah. Now it's absolutely fine. Perfect.
Thanks to my ma'am and everyone who gave this platform to share my views and few experiences of my life for such an important and special day. I believe in believing myself. I'm a first female of my family who started working. Presently, I'm in retail business, but I have started my career with the corporate sector. At a very young stage of my life, I was self-motivated to start my career early due to some childhood memories. As a child, I saw in my surrounding financial dependency of a female on males. That really hit me very deeply. Since then, I thought that one thing that I will never become a financial dependent. You know, dependency is initially gives you a comfort zone, but slowly it paralyzes you. I have I don't know whether you people have or not, but I have a very close experience of a rural area where a female doesn't carry her own significance or even name. People call them by their husband's names. Even still in these days also, the scenario not changed. That thing also very painful, and as a female child, it really hurted me. That thing also motivated me to create my self-identity. Am I audible?
Yeah, very much. We can hear you very clearly.
Audible. Please go ahead.
Still in a few areas, due to some upbringing pattern, females are thinking that they are less capable and less important than men. So this upbringing pattern has to be changed. आप लोगों ने भी ऐसा कहीं feel किया होगा जरूर, I guess. As a aware citizen, it's our responsibility to create more awareness and motivate society with live examples that a female did not need to anyone else's shoulder to live their life. She is capable enough to live with pride on her own. I feel in this society for gender equality, still we have a miles to go. When I thought about my business, so my family still at that point of time, my family not agreed. कि तुम कैसे करोगी ये business है, it's not मतलब for a single woman कैसे कर सकती है, नहीं कर सकती है. My mother, my father, no one agreed. But I thought कि नहीं, मुझे तो ये करना है. और उसके मतलब फिर उसके अपने आप फिर रास्ते बनते चले गए. और फिर लोग मुझे ऐसे मिले जिन्होंने मुझे मोटिवेट किया कि नहीं आप कर सकते हो. और आज अभी मैंने बहुत सारी चीजों को भी अपने साथ अटैच कर रखा है जो कि हमारे बिजनेस में है. आफ्टर आई गेस कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में ही मुझे लगा कि बिजनेस करना चाहिए, क्योंकि जब आप बिजनेस में होते हो तो आप अपने साथ और भी लोगों को अटैच कर सकते हो और आप उनको भी एम्प्लॉयमेंट दे सकते हो अपने साथ. आप खुद के लिए तो फाइनेंशियली डिपेंडेंट होते हो, साथ में उन्हें भी अपने साथ आप अटैच करके उनके साथ मतलब उनके लिए भी आप करियर अपॉर्चुनिटी ला सकते हो मार्केट पे. तो जैसे अभी मोदी जी का आपने सुना होगा आत्मनिर्भर भारत, आत्मनिर्भर भारत चल रहा है. तो ये प्लान इन 2012 I started because job I was with corporate sector since for 5 years I guess. तो वहां से ही मुझे लगा कि नहीं, कुछ अभी बिजनेस करना है और अपनी सेल्फ आइडेंटिटी क्रिएट करनी है. बिकॉज आप अपने साथ साथ सोसाइटी के लिए, स्पेशली फॉर फीमेल्स के लिए आप कुछ कर सकते हो. क्योंकि सिटीज में तो फिर भी कंडीशन इज ओके, बट इन रूरल एरिया वेरी पैथेटिक कंडीशन स्टिल इन दीज डेज ऑल्सो. अभी लास्ट मंथ मैंने विजिट किया था और आई कैन नॉट टेल यू कि मतलब फीमेल्स क्या फील करते हैं. अभी भी उन्हें अपने जो उनके राइट्स हैं उन्हें उनके बारे में नॉट इवन नो कि कैसे राइट्स हैं, वो कैसे क्या कर सकते हैं, उन्हें कुछ नहीं पता अभी भी. तो आई गेस हमें इस चीजों को उन्हें बताना चाहिए और ऐसा एक हमें साथ में इस तरीके से एक एटमॉस्फेयर क्रिएट करना चाहिए जिससे लोगों को लगे कि फीमेल अपने दम पे बहुत कुछ कर सकती है, उसे किसी और की जरूरत नहीं है कि उसे करने की. सपोर्टिव है तब तो ठीक है, और अननेसेसरी लोगों की जरूरत नहीं है कि हाँ क्योंकि वो फीमेल है इसे उसे किसी ना किसी का साथ चाहिए अपनी जिंदगी जीने के लिए. That's it from my side. Thank you ma'am. Thank you once
Thank
again
you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. You are really very inspiring, as you said that how business help everyone, creating opportunities, employment, and it's right that we don't require anyone to support us. We are actually very self-motivating, so it's very right. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Moving on, our
And
next speaker.
To everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sure. Our next guest has directed many plays. She has written several scripts. She has many awards in her achievement list. She is currently working as an assistant professor at the Center for Women's Studies, Aligarh Muslim University. She also taught as a guest lecturer at our college. Please welcome Ms. Tawseef Fatma, who will inspire us with her tale. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Vasundhara. Greetings. Good evening to all present here. So I wish to begin by expressing my warm thankfulness to my teachers, Charles ma'am, who was my MA dissertation supervisor. And it was really, at that time, I did not realize that how much will I get to learn from her. And those memories are still afresh. Listening to ma'am is always a learning experience, and the same happened in today's session. I also thank Anupma ma'am for giving me this opportunity to be present with you all and cherish this ambience full of warmth, learning, and exuberance. I thank all my seniors for their stories of courage, resilience, resistance, and success. And as Charles ma'am has said, that these stories are not about pain or sorrow, rather these are the stories about what we are. There are some people in our lives, some places where we have been, leaving an imprint on our consciousness and memory. And we carry those imprints forever. And our college is one of those places in my life. The experiences that we come across in our lives do contribute in creating the sense of identity that we acquire. And obviously, this sense of identity is not something static. It keeps changing, it keeps evolving with time. Now comes the point when life tests us, when we are put before trials. And these are our defining moments. Because these are the times we grow. We grow when we go through these difficulties and we come out with a lot more love, with a lot more empathy and the ability to connect to others, to reach out to the world that is surrounding us. In my life, I have gone through an ordeal when for almost 3 years, my daughter, who was a toddler at that time, and she was not with me, she was with my parents at Lucknow. And I was at Aligarh, so I had to travel 800 kilometers every week just to spend 8 to 10 hours with her. I was working as guest faculty here at that time. I was pursuing my PhD. I was having a lot of all the things that come along with the teaching and research. So the invigilation duties, the extra work that is given to you, and with that, this ordeal of not having your daughter with you and traveling. So I had to travel anyhow. My objective was this only. So there were times when I had traveled standing all night in the train, or so it was like my objective used to be this thing that I had to catch train anyhow. So then if I get the reservation, if the reservation got done, it's fine. If it is not done, if I could not avail it, then also I have to do it. So during that phase, it happened with me 2 to 3 times that at 2 a.m., because there are many such moments. I'll share 2 to 3 anecdotes with you. It happened with me that at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. In the morning, early, you can say, it was totally dark out there, and I took a rickshaw from Aligarh railway station to my place of residence. Those were the chilling moments when I could relate to this entire idea of safe city campaigns, of the redesigning of urban spaces, public spaces, urban geography to my lived experiences. When you understand the relevance of well-lit streets, availability of public toilets, to the larger questions of women's safety, sexual violence, etc. So the crisis that life puts you in makes us take extraordinary decisions. And what I see, this crisis has the ability to unearth our hidden potentialities, our hidden capabilities, and there lies the worth of challenges in our lives. We might come across the moments when we realize that our self, and I had gone through a number of such experiences, that when we realize that our self is not required for the mutual coexistence of those who are there within our immediate context, but rather only for the fulfillment of the needs of others. So where I was the one, or where we are the ones who are often silenced, who are not allowed voicing our opinions, when we are treated as unwanted ones, or as an outsider. And as women, we might have some familiarity to those experiences, then we have to create a space for ourselves amidst all the adversities. We need not search the meaning of our lives in someone else. Rather, we need to understand that the meaning of our lives lie within us. This is something which I had learned because I was the one, as Charles Mann has said, the socialized through movies, through films, through serials, dramas, peer group, because marriage was something which was very important, because we see that okay, this person will come and will give us a sense of fulfillment. But over the years, after being married for 10 years now, I realized that no, this fulfillment actually lies within us. We have to create it. We have to see it in so many relationships, people who are around us. So we have to carve out that sense of belongingness within us, within our bodies, within our souls. That can only be done when we are able to understand and realize our value, our worth. We often engage with the practice of attaching value to things, to ideas, to concepts. When we become judgmental, we say that, okay, this is something precious to us, this is something which is not precious. But we do need to ponder upon the question of self-worth. Do I consider myself to be of worth? What determines that worth? Where does it come from? Amartya Sen conceptualizes it in form of capability approach or capability theory, when he says that people should have freedom to achieve functionings, and Sen has conceptualized functionings in terms of beings and doings, what you are able to do and what you are able to be. So doing is something which is very important, connected to your existence, your right to be. So my message to all my young friends is this only, that engage in a lot of activities, explore the world around you to the utmost, do whatever good you can do, love yourself, understand your worth, and hold the hands of those who are in need. Who knows what wonder your small gesture can create? And at the end, I would like to quote few lines from Kefi Azmi's Nazm Aurat. I hope you all have gone through that, so it will be a kind of repetition. And all my seniors are so good at poetry. Ishita ma'am and I'm forgetting.
Rashi,
So,
that was Rashi.
yes. Thank you. So जिंदगी जहद में है, सब्र के काबू में नहीं, नब्ज़े हस्ती का लहू कांपते आंसू में नहीं, उड़ने खुलने में है निखत ख़म गेसू में नहीं, जिंदगी एक और है जो जन्नत एक और है जो मर्द के पहलू में नहीं. So I'll translate the crux of it.
Very nice.
So I'll just translate the crux of it, or the sense that it conveys to those who are not familiar with Urdu, that the beauty of life lies in perseverance, lies in the ability to fight back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I mean, poetry was amazing. And one more point that I like, that you said crisis in life makes us to take extraordinary decision, and I can feel that it is very right and inspiring to hear it. So thank you once again so much, ma'am. Now I would like to call upon my co-host Naina Kumar to take forward the event.
Thank you,
Over to you, Naina.
Thank you. Moving ahead to our next speaker. A work for women is inspiration. A slogan is Girls Beyond Pink. Her poetic words can touch your heart. She joined an NGO working for child rights in Lucknow, and currently she is serving the program coordinator in Delhi at Plan International India chapter. She runs a Facebook page named Girl Beyond Pic and a YouTube channel too. Now, please welcome Miss Anshika Vajpayee.
Thank you so very much for inviting and for the warm welcome. And before I begin my thing, I'd like to start from where Tausif had left. रुत बदल डाल अगर फूलना फलना है तुझे उठ मेरी जान मेरे साथ ही चलना है तुझे
चलना है तुझे
very good poetry. Absolutely loved. And also thank you very much Dr. Anupma Srivastav, and it was such a pleasure to listen to Dr. Charles after so many years. I left college in 2012, and the first thing I did, the first memory I have of Dr. Charles was in the first assembly that I attended in 2007 when I joined for my graduation. And I remember, so I was this really good orator in my school and all of that. And I thought that I know it all. So whenever I used to practice at home, my grandma used to say, you're shouting too much. You can be, you can be soft also and you can still make your point. And I was like, she doesn't understand. And then when I listened to Dr. Charles, be it Hindi, be it English, any language, then I understood that's what she meant, that you can be soft, you can be polite, and you can still make a strong opinion. So that it was really, really, really nice to listen to her after so many years. And so my story will be a little different from these because I was a hostler, okay? I'm not a Lucknowite. I came from a small town of Hardoi. So for me, the first visual of the building, that Victorian infrastructure, I was like, I'm not going to get there because I come from a Hindi medium government school background. So I was like, this is not my thing. This is too hi-fi for me. Okay, so I'm not going to get there. So I remember I went there with my father for the entrance exam. And we were just having a walk outside that road. And there's this tea stall, Sani or Sanic tea stall, just opposite the student center. I still remember it. So I was sure, Papa, I'm not going to get it. And he was like, no, you will. But imagine you also get a hostel. That would be really nice. So I don't know how he had all that confidence. I didn't even bother to check the results when it was out. I was like, I know I'm not going to get there. It's not for me. I don't think I deserve to be there. I can't barely speak English. So obviously I'm not going to go there. Very, very sure of it. So when the results came and I got it, I was like, are you joking? I'm not going to get there. So all of that happened. And the hostel experience, I was petrified. I was very, and also I remember my teachers very fondly, but I also remember my wardens, Dr. Lalita Salvia, Dr. Barish James, and Miss Preeti Kerkata. So we were really, really afraid of them for sure, but we very fondly remember them now. So my first was sharp 140. And what fond memory we have of the Christmas celebration, of the DR decoration and all the competitions, and it was lovely. It was lovely. We thought there were so many rules and regulations, and the mess food is not as per our taste, and that. And I remember that I used to cry every day. I was always on phone with my father, and I have a joint family. So everybody, I'm not able to survive. And one day my father really got rid of me. He said, okay, pack your bags, then come back. You're not happy, then come back. Okay, I'll pick you up. And that was the moment when I realized that this is an opportunity to live a life that I want to make for myself. And if I'll go back, there's no future. So that was the day. I must have still faced issues or whatever it is, but that was the day I realized that I can't step back. There are no reverse gears in life. You have to move forward. You have to learn. And there are more important things than food in life, right? So you have to move forward. You have to learn to adjust and adapt and grow over it. So that was the first learning. Also, I very fondly remember my psychology teachers, Dr. Inakshi Srivastav, Dr. Daud, and Dr. Kapahi, especially my English teacher. So I was from a Hindi medium background. For the entire first year, I was struggling to even understand because the standards were so high. And I thought that I will not be able to survive. Completing that circle, I was very, very comfortable with her in the masters when we had the opportunity to have all the best teachers from the best departments to teach women in literature, women in economics, women in politics, and all of that. So when I did the masters, this thing was there, and many of the people back home in my hometown, they were not aware if there is such a subject called women's studies. What are you going to do with women's studies? Is there a future? I remember my school principal asking my father, so what is she going to do after women's studies? And now when I look back, when I was working with National Commission for Women, I was the youngest there. So people used to treat me like intern. Even when I was working for a year and a half, and people were like, why are interns staying so late? You should go home, beta. I said, hello, I'm working as a national coordinator. Okay, so that was that. And I remember the member secretary then, my very favorite, Dr. Nandita Chatterjee, IAS. So she has been part of the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. She's also worked with the WHO and the UN. And she was taking my interview and she was extremely impressed. She said, I didn't even know that there's a college in UP, because there's a taboo and there's a image of UP that's created out there. She said, I never knew that there's a college in UP that offers such specific courses. So what do they teach you? And when I explained it to her, such a structured thing, and we have it in all dimensions, and also the basic knowledge of law. So that's such a comprehensive thing. And we had the best of the faculties. And I was discussing the other day with Dr. Srivastav that, that it's such a sad thing, because when we were reading it, I know that Lucknow University has discontinued this course, but Lady Doak Madurai and IT College Lucknow were the pioneers to introduce gender and women's studies in India in the 80s. So it is part of our heritage, it's part of our legacy. So we have to push the envelope forward. That's one thing. And also somebody was mentioning that in the rural India that, women are referred to as their husbands' names. Let me tell you, I'm working in Delhi. We all know the Pati Pradhan thing, right? The women's seats are given to the women of the family where the men were functioning earlier. So the Pati Pradhan is there. Even in Delhi, we are organizing a Safer Cities concert in all the India Habitat Center, all fancy thing. And we've called the ward councillors there, and some 4 or 5 men turned up. Okay, and they sat on the dais as if it was their right to sit there. I said, who are these people? I said, they are councillor Pati. I said, what does that mean? They are the husbands of the ward councillor. So if you don't invite the Pati, the woman won't turn up, obviously, and the Pati won't even bother to bring the councillor, and he'll sit on the dais and he'll speak on her behalf. In Delhi, this is happening in 2021. So these things are everywhere. But I think coming back to the struggles. So I think initially as I was talking about that, there's no reverse gear in life, right? So coming back from a small town, coming back from a Hindi medium upbringing, because language is a barrier in every way, you have to move forward. You need a language that everybody understands, even if you don't glorify it or what, but you need to be able to communicate whatever you want to say. So that much is required. Then while I was working, because I come from a women's studies background, and my first job was in the child rights organization. And there were a few of my colleagues who were very, very passionate about the social work and the cause and all of that. And I thought that I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing a 9-to-5 job and I'm getting a salary out of it. Until one day, a child rape victim was brought to the center. And as per the juvenile justice law, a female has to attend it, right? So the female counselor was not there at that time. So till she came, I was asked to, help her out. And that was the first thing. It was a 9-10-year-old little girl. And she was showing me her scars and she was in terrible, terrible state. And for the first time, I felt like I don't know how to console her. The law will take its course and everything was there. And I was with her for some 3-4 hours and something inside me changed. So when I moved to the Center for Social Research in Delhi to work for the domestic violence victims and all of that, and the research and the law and all of it, and then the National Commission for Women, so that I can have a comprehensive understanding of the entire country. It's not just UP, it's not just Delhi, it's the entire country. And when we say that, the home is the safest heaven for women, women's place is in the home, we know that over 90% of crime against women happen within the 4 walls of the house. And the lockdown has seen, the increase in the domestic violence cases. So we have the evidence, So where do women go? What do women do? Go to the father's house, to the husband's house? And what about your individuality? Because you're always defined in relation to the man. You are somebody's wife, somebody's mother, somebody's daughter. Who are you? It's his house. It's his house. Where is your house? So when I decided to get married, and my husband lives in another city, I live in another city, and many people, even in my office, and everybody's asking, why are you still working? Why don't you shift? He'll be busy in his work. You should help him out. I said, okay, and what about my work? My parents have put all that money, all the resources, when everybody was advising them to save for dowry, because you will have to give it, howsoever educated she is, you have to give dowry, so save for dowry, send her into some Arkanya Pathshala, but you have to save for dowry because it doesn't work other than that. Okay, so on every step, so they've invested their resources, they've gone against the tide. Okay, when I was shifting to Delhi, so I shifted in 2013, And Nirbhaya happened in 2012. Okay. So when I came to IT, my father was all proud and very happy, and everybody was congratulating, oh, your daughter got into such a great institution. Nobody gets to be there. Everybody has, even his friends. That's such a funny thing, that his friends, like uncles, I would call them, they had stories of standing outside the gates in their Lucknow University days. And they were like, that's a different breed. You beware. And we are the lucky ones. We got to be the insiders. We know what it feels, what a legacy we are part of. Dr. Mohini Giri, the first chairperson of NCW, and also Dr. Ismat Chugtai, the famous writer. I was reading her autobiography, Kagazi Hai Perahan, and she has, referred, she's mentioned all the experience, such visual experiences of when Miss Sara Charco and Dr. Isabella Thoban were herself there. The kind of building, the kind of atmosphere, the piano, and how they used to sing in the choir and all of that. It was so moving. So that legacy is also, we are also taking that thing forward. So that's also a responsibility. So when I was shifting to Delhi, so my father was very, very afraid, because post Nirbhaya, because obviously Delhi, the media has hyped it as the rape capital and everything. So he was extremely, extremely frightened. And it's not easy. Obviously, I'm also scared. Obviously, I'm scared now. Because when I was in Lucknow, my father used to come and pick me up and drop me and all of that. So once he was not there, or I told him, no, I'll come, you don't worry. And my house is just 2 hours away. So I sat in the wrong train and I jumped off. Okay, when I realized that it was going in the wrong direction, I jumped off immediately. So now when I travel all across India solo, okay, I'm attending a 4 a.m. flight, I'm reaching at an unknown destination and 3 in the morning, and I know I can sail through it. So where did all that confidence came from? So he was very, very frightened when I was coming to Delhi. Obviously, I was frightened as well, but if I tell him that, he'll obviously be gone. So that was the time, when I realized that it's not easy for a parent also. When you yourself are frightened, still you letting the child go. You know that there is a risk involved. You know that there will be, because you can't be there just every point of time whenever it is required. So the child has to learn to, live on their own, to manage things on their own. And then also a certain responsibility comes in. When we say, because ultimately everything revolves around, making the choices. Women empowerment, we say, I think religion, love, and women empowerment are the most misquoted terms ever. Everybody uses this as per their convenience. But also I'd say that you have to earn that, before making that choice. It's not just about making a choice. It's also about making the informed choices and the right choices, because the consequences have to be borne by you. Nobody else, no sharing happening there. So the consequences have to be borne by you. So obviously at each and every step when you work on, then you also earn that respect or earn that trust from the people around you, the surroundings around you, that they know that you are able to take your decisions and you are able to, justify them. When I started living alone, living in a hostel is different thing. There's so many girls around you and then, taking each step at a time, moving into a different city, then to a different city. Now I've been living around alone for 14 years. So I know there, even in marriage also, when we are talking about living in 2 different cities, because when we also know that you want to be with somebody, company is important, but you're not dependent. You're not financially dependent. You don't need somebody to pick and drop you. So that mutual respect, that mutual understanding, that the person is not here to cook and clean. The person is an equal companion who has a personality, individuality, and choices and struggles of their own. So that respect, I think that like how we talk about, the constitution is amending every time. We have to make the constitutional amendment to keep it relevant with the changing time. I think the social institutions also need that, if they need to stay updated, they need to keep reinventing themselves. So that is also an important thing. So that's one thing. And I think with each stage of that own, because initially, when my father used to say, she's born to, put my money on fire. So but when I shifted to the hostel, his outlook also changed. The father who used to worry when I'm late 5 minutes from returning from a friend's birthday party, he was okay. He was telling me to go out and watch movies with my friends. I wasn't comfortable. That's another thing. But, with time, as I moved ahead, he's also comfortable. Now he also knows. Now my father is a criminal lawyer. So now his friends also refer to him and ask him and consult him. How's your daughter doing so well? we would like to consult her. Now we would like to suggest that how we can go about it and what should we do, make our daughters do for their betterment. And because in small town, the arena is really limited. If you come from a financially well-off environment, then it's fine. It's still better because it's given that you will do well in life. If you're not coming well, I honestly tell him that I am not doing something exceptionally good. It's just that nothing was expected out of me. It's simply that, because the expectations from the woman, from a girl, from a limited economics background, it's hardly there. You need to get a basic education, and then you need to get married. That is it. That the purpose of life, the circle takes there, and you've been told, for generations and generations that marriage is the end of the road. So it's also important to be aware to not leave things, to not leave your individuality, to not leave all that you've learned through your successes, through your experiences, through what that life has shown you, what life has taught you. Also, it's extremely, extremely important to be in good company, as Dr. Charles was also saying, to be self-sufficient. If you keep on waiting that somebody will go with me, then I'll go there, somebody will travel with me, then I'll travel, you need to be able to live on your own, because then we'll keep on waiting all your life. There's no end to it. So I think I'm getting too much, going too much with the flow. So I'd also selected one of my poems, but I think there are already so many. So I've picked one from the Chandbagh Chronicle from our times. So Rashi Bhushan was the editorial head that time. And she had written a poem in the Chandbagh Chronicle, and that stayed with me, those lines. So that I'd like to share with you before I end my thing. So it goes like, as I stand among the portals, turn back the time wheel, memories come flooding me by, memories I can sense and feel. There was a time when I had come with dreams in my little eyes. I could not know that this will form a wonderful chapter in my life. I am now a mixed bag of feeling sad and pleasure, but these memories will always be my most cherished treasure. Thank you so very much, Dr. Srivastava. Thank you, Dr. Charles, and everybody around. It's been a great, great, great experience. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You rightly said that we cannot look in reverse what all happened, and we have to move forward and with the right spirit. We have to make informed and right choices for the future. Thank you, ma'am. Moving to our last speaker. She's a writer, a performer, a lady on a mission to bring in change, giving a soulful sound performance in exchange. Please welcome Ms. Sonal Sharma, a spoken word poetry enthusiast. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello. Am I audible?
You're audible, beta.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My warmest greetings to the esteemed Madam President, Madam Principal, and the amazing faculty members of my alma mater, Postgraduate Department of Economics. It is so good to be back. And this has been an entirely riveting discussion. I've enjoyed so much. And before introducing myself or telling you all a part of my story, I would like to begin with a spoken word poem that I recently wrote. It's called Feminism for Economists. And this poem is especially important for me to recite right now because IT college is where I learned almost all of my economics and most of my feminism. So this one's to all of you. Feminism for Economists. My aunt bought 10 toffees. She gave you 5 and me 3. I wanted more, but I didn't steal yours. I simply asked for more. My feminism is not a zero-sum game. The fight is never about gaining your losses or taking what's yours, just simply about what was denied to me. My feminism is my rightful claim on the +2 toffees. Auntie had 10 toffees. She gave you 5 and me 3. The 2 left over were reserved for good behavior, which I was asked to prove while you had what Stackelberg calls the first mover advantage, also known as your precious, precious patriarchy. I was acquainted to it very early in life, this formless, odorless monster that seeps in through your skin, and once it's in, it creeps everywhere. From larger shares at lunch tables and final say in family arguments to your claim on the last drop of milk. Stackelberg says If this privilege persists, you will always lead, and I will always follow. My feminism is about cancelling your systemic privilege. So when my aunt had 10 toffees and gave you 5 and me 3, my feminism also taught me to understand that this is how she was conditioned by her parents, and her parents by their parents. My feminism is about dismantling this conditioning. It is about better education, equal wages, safer workplaces, about universal franchise, about a woman's agency, about reproductive rights and land rights and sexual rights, about freedom and equal opportunity, about access to resources so that tomorrow, if I want, I could set up a toffee factory and make my own toffee, or not. My feminism is also about choices, and it's about honoring all choices. My feminism is a 100% political act. It isn't about replacing one dictator with another, but a constant struggle for democracy. My feminism is a Pareto-optimal solution. It doesn't seek to leave you worse off, just strives to make me better off. It doesn't seek to infringe upon your rights. Rather, it demands for my own. In fact, it is hardly about you, and it is hardly about sex. My feminism is about me and everyone who chooses to believe in it. My feminism is a dream, to build a town in the land of Nash equilibrium, where the game is always fair, where you and I are on the same playing field, and the odds can be in anyone's favor. Thank you. So, Amita Marwa ma'am taught me game theory, so I would like to thank her for that as well. I was listening. Thank you, ma'am. I was listening. I would like to start off and add to the story that Anshika ma'am said, where she talked about how she was in Delhi when the Nirbhaya incident happened, I think. And I remember I graduated from class 12 in the year 2013-14. And that was just 1 year after the whole incident had happened, and it was extremely sad. And my dream was always to study at Delhi University, so that was what I was preparing for. And suddenly there was this whole hue and cry about how safe it would be to send me alone to the city. And I remember I was very confident, but there were I had this whole plan with a few of my best friends. We were all supposed to go together. But everybody soon started backing out because their parents were suddenly very cautious about sending them to Delhi alone. And I still went. And I remember the first day I came here. So I did almost everything on my own. I got a hostel. I got the whole application procedure, finding a room for myself. Everything I did on my own. And the only thing my father said to me was that it is very important to sort of push yourself to let go of the fear. So initially I was very scared to use the public transport in Delhi, especially the buses. So my father said that for like a few days, for like a week or so, you just use the bus. Just go wherever you want to, but just use the bus. And slowly I realized that if you keep on doing something, you be alert, you be cautious, but also do not sit at home just because you're scared that something is going to happen. It's very important to let go of that fear, the inherent fear that women are sensed, that they're made to feel all the time. So that was, my parents they are incredibly feminist, and they've been the wind beneath my wings for as long as I can remember. And I would like to perform another poem. I would also like to give a background to this poem. It's called Shame. And it's inspired by another poem by one of my favorite spoken word artists who goes by the name Olivia Gatwood. And at the beginning of one of her poems, she talks about how shame is an incredibly inorganic feeling. It is something that we were made to feel, that we are conditioned to feel. And one of the most problematic shames, a woman's life is filled with problematic shames, but one of the most problematic ones is the shame that surrounds menstruation and periods. So this poem is a dedication to that. It's called Shame. They tell me to have shame. Run back to your mother, no better hide shame. Too late now, it's that time of the month again, shame. Don't enter the kitchen or cook for yourself, shame. Sleep on the floor so your husband doesn't force himself on you because he's right. You're just not fit, shame. Why are you wearing white, shame? Can't you make it stop, shame? Little girls asking their mothers, Ma, am I dying, when they first stain their panties, shame. Don't enter temples because the goddess who made you in her likeness obviously didn't bleed every month, shame. Don't eat pickles, shame. Stay away from cats and dogs and men. They can tell you smell funny, shame, just basically. Stay away, shame. What's wrong with you, girl, believing you can do all that when you're shedding your body, shame? Why are you walking like a penguin, shame? Why are you breathing, shame? You got no shame, shame, girl. Have some shame, shame. Really? Why? So you can outrun me at the marathon? So you can pretend you're smarter than me when I miss office for 5 days? So you can tell me how to behave, teach me how to act? So you can build walls around my dreams and tell me I can achieve everything but that, because come on, my body is fragile on those days. So you can tell me I'm limited on those days. So you can tell me I'm limited on those days. So you can write poetry about how beautiful my body is and continue to restrict it on those days. You, with your poems perfectly rhymed, your sentences perfectly punctuated. I'm so sorry. Your dreams perfectly lived because you don't bleed for 5 days a month. So let me break conventions here. This is a poem without commas and dash dots and full stops and punctuations because we were always taught to hide ours. We were shamed for our periods, so here's a poem without one. Does it make sense to you? Tell me, does it? Because my body punctuates itself every month and you shame me for it. It marks beginnings and endings. It breathes life literally. It regenerates and recuperates. My body is a master at the art of letting go, and that's beautiful. So you women who've been taught to hide and live simply because nature is running its natural course on those days, go ahead. Have no shame. Build empires, no shame. Plan world domination, no shame. Go to work, no shame. Wear white and peach and beige and yellow, no shame. Go mountain biking, no shame. Make your favorite dessert, no shame. Call your friends over and cast a goddess circle, no shame. Breathe, no shame. Live your life, no shame, period.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice, Sonal.
I had a great time listening to all beautiful women who've been a part of this college before I was. And I'm honored, and it's incredibly nervous also because I'm joining ranks with such women of strength. Thank you, Anupma ma'am, Marwa ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Ms. Charles, and Principal ma'am for having me. It was a great pleasure. A very, very happy Women's Day to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I must also say my best wishes, our best wishes rather, to Sonal, because she has been shortlisted for Legislative Assembly Member of Parliament's Fellowship, I think, LAMP Fellowship, and she will be shortly giving her interview in Delhi. So our best wishes to you, Sonal, for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck, Sonal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. As you said, right, that your father said we should need to push our limits and we need to go forward, to let go our fear. Then only our success doors will be open. And definitely your poems were extremely amazing. We loved it. Thank you, ma'am. Moving ahead, I would just like to thank all the guests, all the speakers for coming up and sharing their journey. It was totally, we were energized and motivated. Now, I would just like to request our faculty members and our guests to share their experience about our event.
If any of the faculty wants to share anything, the floor is open. I think, Nena, you can proceed for, okay?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to call upon the students from our college to share their views. Firstly, I call Kajal Sahu from MA Second Year.
She is currently our editorial online newsletter editor also for Arthniti, I think. Kajal.
Good evening. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, respected dignitaries and my dear friends. Thank you so much for providing me this platform. I am filled with emotions and also after listening to all the inspiring speakers, I feel motivated, but the emotions are really running on high. So if my voice quavers, please forgive me. So I wrote this poem when I was at a really low point in my life, and winning the first prize for this poem made me realize that no matter how many weaknesses I have, my words are my power. My education is my tool, and my knowledge is my strength. So I hope this poem can give a little ray of hope and strength to all the young aspiring women out there. So the poem is titled Shades of Life. So here it goes. In the cradle of brass on the wet and green grass, she whimpered with tiny tears running down her twinkling eyes. In the muslin of baby pink, she kicked her podgy limbs. Her sire lifted her with the onus of her nuptial in his heart. In her early teens, and her eyes brimming with dreams, she closed her books of word and accepted the household stint. In her later teens, they smeared yellow on her body and soul, with jingling bangles of clasps and noose of beads and gold. 9 months after her wedlock, maternity love encumbered in her lap, she dreamt a new reverie of empowerment for her princess child. In her early 20s, with years of life ahead, she sat by the mounds of ashes where her broken glass bangles spread. With the loss of her only family, the man towards whom her responsibilities lie, with no other prospect to live for, she eventually learned to survive. With an early life of doom, accepting the unwanted fate, she decided to change the future because it's never too late. Her life changed shades like season, from pink, yellow, red to white. She gave the power of pen to her daughter to paint her future bright. From countless colors of spectrum, they dreamt of better tomorrow and painted an ebullient portrait with different shades of life. Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Very nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kajal. Now, moving ahead to our next speaker. Now, I'd like to call Parul Singh from BA Second Year.
A very good evening to respected teachers and my dear friends. Life is a journey, and this journey for a species called woman was not easy at all. Before, women were treated as the decorative materials which are kept inside house to maintain its beauty, and we use them as garnish. But this is for today's women, transforming themselves from abla to sabla. Breaking all the obstacles, this journey was started by famous social reformers. And woman herself, Mrs. starting women's school with 10 to 15 girls. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, asking for women's right, remarriage of widow, breaking all the stereotypes of society, fighting for us. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who opened the eyes of society, taught society that women too are individuals. They too possess feelings, have their own perception, and her identity is not constrained with being a wife of a husband, demolishing brutal Sati Pratha, which was a blot on Indian society. Our own founder, Ma'am Isabella Thoburn, started this institution with only 6 girls, making it Asia's first women college. prestigious institutions of mine has empowered unaccountable women, and I feel so proud and blessed to be part of it. Today, we have the example of leading women like Indra Nooyi in the field of business, Kiran Bedi in the field of policing, Tessie Thomas, the missile woman of India, in the field of science and technology, Gunjan Saxena, our Kargil girl in the field of armed forces, and our golden girl Hima Das in the field of athletics. The list is and will be endless. Now I would like to bombard you all with few questions. Think about 5 present MPs in your mind. I would like to repeat my question. Think about 5 present MPs in your mind. I am sure barely you all have thought about any woman MP. Why do we have only one woman president? Why even after 74 years of independence, we have only one woman prime minister? Why in present cabinet of 22 ministers, we have only 2 women ministers, that is Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman and Srimati Smriti Zubin Irani? Why among 28 states, we have only 1 woman chief minister? This data itself shows that there is no gender equality in Indian politics, although our constitution, Article 14, guarantees equality. My dear friends, this data by Inter-Parliamentary Union says among 193 countries, India ranks 148 as its women representation is 12.6%. That is, among 524 members of Rajya Sabha, only 66 are women. And in Lok Sabha, that is lower house, data goes to 11.5%. That is, among 244 members of Lok Sabha, only 28 members are women. This topic needs an immediate action. It should be the concern of all the political parties, government, and citizens as well. As big chunk of population, that is women, are outside the House of Parliament. When women candidates will come in legislature and become the lawmakers, definitely we will achieve gender equality in true means. Now, what steps must be taken in this field? First of all, the Women Reservation Bill 2008 must be shown green flag as it ensures 33% of reservation to women. Political parties themselves must fix some seats for women candidates. To tackle this patriarchal mindset, education must be provided which talks about women equality. Any act of character assassination of female candidate by any political party or leader must be punished, giving women fair and better environment in politics. The present women leaders must be praised, and a campaign must be started where women and their families get motivated to step in politics. Today's India needs its heroes in politics. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Parul. I would another speaker, that is Anushka from DA third year, to recite her poem.
Thank you, Nana. Good afternoon to honorable teachers, guest speakers, and all the fellow students. Today, I, Anushka Singh of BA third year, feel privileged to recite a poem in front of you. And this poem expresses the plea of a young girl who is denied of her rights, of her choices to dream, but she is still adamant to fulfill what she desires. And here it goes. हाँ हूँ मैं एक लड़की जो बात बात पर है भड़की, क्योंकि ये बात करते हैं वजूद को मिटाने की, प्रश्न करते हैं ये अस्तित्व को समझाने की, काटते हैं पंख न फैलाने को, रोकते हैं ये आसमान को चाहने को, टोकते हैं ये अपना नाम बनाने को, लड़की हूं तो क्या हुआ, मैं भी तो एक इंसान हूं, इम्तिहान नहीं तेरा, मैं तो तेरी ही एक संतान हूं, क्यों हो तुम मेरे सपनों को रोकते, क्यों हो तुम मुझे टोकते, क्यों हो तुम मेरे सपनों को तौलते, लड़की है तू, लड़की होती है पराई, हाथ पीले कर जल्द कर दो इसकी विदाई, विदाई विदाई विदाई, विदाई घर से, विदाई अपनों से, विदाई अपने सपनों से। हाँ, माना थोड़ा रिस्क है, पर कहानी में अभी ट्विस्ट है, तो थोड़ा गौर करो, थोड़ा सा ध्यान दो, कान लगाओ और अब सुनो हमारी बात को। बहुत हुई ये रीत दुनिया की, नहीं हूं अब मैं प्रीत सजना की। अब हमने है ये ठाना कि इस रूढ़िवादी सोच को है मिटाना, हाथ से निकलकर हाथ फैलाकर आसमान को है नापना, अपने सपनों को सच करके है दिखाना। राह अग्निपथ है तो दांव है अंगारे, जो आग से जलकर निखरते वो स्वर्ण है हम सारे। नहीं मूक हूं मैं अब कोई अत्याचार सहने को, नारी नहीं काली हूं मैं, महाकाली हूं मैं, नीले आसमान पर छाई एक नई सी लालिमा हूं मैं। थैंक यू।
Very nice. Thank you, Anushka. Now I'd like to call Yashi from BA first year.
Good evening to everyone present here. Gender equality is when people of all genders have equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities. In short, gender equality is human right. It is the responsibility of the first teacher, that is, the parents themselves, to start teaching their children about gender equality since the age they start understanding things. Rather than telling boys to don't cry and girls to be subordinate, they should teach them other things which promote gender equality. Gender equality include not only men and women, but also LGBT community. Do not make comments that demean or humiliate women, black peoples, member of LGBT community, or other marginalized groups. And don't keep quiet if you hear such comments. Talk to your colleagues, friends, and family frankly and tell them to stop with the racist, homophobic, and transphobic insults. Even the government should be responsible enough to promote gender equality through the concept of free seminars in public libraries and public fields. Educating the people on the gender equality should remain the prominent concern of the government in this era. Thank you.
Brilliant. Very nice.
Thank you, Yashi, for this. Now, I would just like to ask my friends for coming here and also our guests for joining to this event. Here's to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them. We wish you all once again a happy International Women's Day. There's an end to every event. As this event, we are glad that you have joined us, and we would like to request our Principal Ma'am, Dr. Mrs. V. Prakash, to thanks.
Thank you, Nena, and thank you, all of you strong, wonderful women, Rashi, Ishita, Vinny, Anjali, Tausif, Anshika, Sonal, and our very own students, Kajal, Parul, Anushka, and Yashi. It was wonderful hearing your stories. It was wonderful to know that you have found such a strong voice. Melinda Gates said, a woman with a voice is a strong woman. You know, there was a time when it was believed that women ought to be seen and not heard. Emily Dickinson, the famous American poet, says, "You put me in a closet because you liked me still." There is a pun on the word still. You put me in a closet because you liked me still. And it took women such a long time to find their voice. You know, even when you are speaking, it is because you want to be heard. And as one woman very aptly put it, we speak, but the wind blows away our words. You know, there's no one to hear what you say. So in this culture of silence, it is very, very important to find your voice and to be heard. Not only to find your voice and speak, but to be heard. Malala Yousafzai recently said, we realize the importance of our voice when we are silenced. You know, there is so much pressure on women to not speak, to be silenced, and to break the culture of silence. And it happens across societies. It happens across cultures. It happens across communities. But I'm so happy that when Isabella Thoburn thought of opening a college for girls, she started with only 6 girls in a small room. Her vision was to empower Indian women and to make them leaders, not just to educate them, but to make them leaders. And the motto that she gave all of us, you and me, is that we receive to give. So I'm so happy to meet all of you on this platform. You passed out of this institution long before I joined, but it's there are only very few like Ishita that I have been meeting off and on, and of course my young students who have often come to me with their poems asking me to read. Anushka, I have read a number of your poems. And it's wonderful to connect with all you wonderful, empowered ladies who are making a mark in the world, in the community and society. And you are not only giving back what you have received, but you are also empowering other women. So 2 days before the International Women's Day, I thank the Department of Economics along with the Center for Women's Studies and Dr. Anupma Srivastav and her team for having brought all of you together. I'm sure that this coming together of all you strong women has empowered you to another level. And some of you have been classmates, some of you belonged to different years, but I'm sure that it's a coming home for all of you. And it's so nice to hear your stories. And I'm motivated that I should call you once again to share your stories face to face with the other students who come to the college now after the offline classes have begun. And
I promise we'll come running.
Thank you. And I'm sure that you would also like to come back and share your
anytime.
Thank
IT is home. The 10 pillars, the portals of IT, they're always awe-inspiring.
I know, no one can forget that because
10 pillars.
It makes such a deep impression upon you. And
absolutely.
I'm so happy that you have made an impact and you have left your footprints of time, and you are inspiring so many other women with what you are doing.
Thank you so much.
Very exemplary, and many young girls of the present generation look up to you. Thank you, Dr. Anupma Srivastav, for bringing all these wonderful women on this platform and giving them an opportunity to voice what is inside of them and to be heard. You know, once I was attending a seminar on feminism, and a lot of women were sharing their experiences, and there were no men in that seminar. There was only one man, and because he happened to be the chairperson of the organization. So when it was his turn to propose the vote of thanks, he came to the dais and he said, the men ought to be hearing this. Where are the men? The women are speaking, but it is the men who ought to be hearing them. Where are the men? You know, the men ought to be hearing all this. And you have not only found your voice, you are expressing your voice so boldly and so strongly. And I'm so very proud of each one of you and your achievements. So thank you for having accepted our invitation and for coming on this platform. And thank you, Dr. Charles, for setting the tone and the tenor for this event. Thank you, Dr. Anupma Srivastav. I really applaud all your effort, and Dr. Amita Marwa, Dr. Srivastav, Dr. Preeti Sharma for working so hard behind the scenes to make this happen. All the very best to you. I really salute all of you. All the best for your future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. What a pleasure to listen to you, ma'am. And a very happy International Women's Day to everyone out there. Thank you.
Same
we all will be together I think we all will make some change.
We will.
We will. And ma'am, I
Thank
would
you.
also like to acknowledge our